Great to be here. Ben mentioned that IDE helped 20 million a day people move out of poverty, but compared to the 2.6 billion people who live on less than $2 a day, that's just a drop in the bucket. Scale is the single biggest challenge facing us today. At a TED Talk I gave a couple of years ago, I said I felt like an 18-year-old virgin in a 77-year-old body. Now it's 2 years later and I've slept around a little bit. It's great to hear Majora Carter talking about expanding the exciting work she's done in the Bronx to blighted communities all over the United States. That again, she's facing or trying to bring her creative work in the Bronx to scale, which is, I think, the biggest challenge for all of us. As I said before, there are 2.6 billion people in the world who live on less than $2 a day. And here is a 79-year-old's development cynic version of the reality of our impact on those 2.6 billion people. In my view, conventional development aid has failed. Corporate social responsibility is cosmetic. Charity doesn't bring people out of poverty. And impact investing confuses social mission and profit. The good news, I think there are vast new markets waiting to be created that are both profitable and scalable, serving 2.6 billion new customers. We can create brave new companies, each of which can reach at least 100 million $2 a day customers, generate more than 10 billion in annual sales, and attract major global investors. As I said before, scale is the critical missing link. And you can read these slides for yourselves. Now, why would big business have any interest in reaching into these markets? Traditionally, big business hasn't seen $2 a day customers as a place to make a profit. Well, 3 years ago, General Motors, the biggest, most powerful corporation in the world, was brought to its knees by competition from Japan and Germany, imported cars that were smaller, cheaper, and more fuel efficient. I have no doubt that the same fate awaits Walmart, Microsoft, Tata, and companies like them if they don't learn quickly and effectively to earn scalable, attractive profits serving $2 a day customers. Little mistake in that slide, it's close to 3 billion customers are waiting for a revolution. Multinationals today can't hope to do it by making cosmetic changes in their current product line. They have to go through nothing less than a revolution in how they design, price, market, and distribute their products and services. I believe the solution is to create Ford Motor type transformative businesses serving the poor. There have been several transformative revolutions in business. Ford's motor car was one of them. Apple's introduction of the personal computer was another. In all of those instances, as I see it, those depended on a transformative revolution in affordability and a transformative revolution in making things significantly smaller. The personal computer revolution, prior to the Apple, computers filled a whole room in universities, cost several $100,000. Apple brought it down to a range of $1,000 and the computer that could fit on a student's desk. There are three keys to this revolution. First, radical affordability, I would put that first. And IDE and DREV both have helped foment a design revolution where pretty much any product you can lower the cost and still make it attractive to poor customers by a half within an hour. And in my experience, it takes maybe a few months to bring it down to 1/5. The second change is low price, high volume, high margin. Notice I say high margin, not low margin. Often people say high volume, low margin. Walmart itself has a number of branded in-house products with high margin and high volume. We're finding that in order to make things profitable, we need high margin, high volume, and I'll talk about that when I describe the water company. And finally, a big challenge is profitable last mile supply chains. Again, I'll go into that a little bit more when I talk about the water company. In giving talks at design schools, I've highlighted what I call the Don't Bother trilogy. If you haven't talked to at least 100 poor customers before you start, if it doesn't pay for itself 3 times in the first year, and if you can't sell at least 100 million of them, don't bother. Notice that in the past, I've said at least 1 million of them. In the words of Richard Nixon, that phrase has become inoperative. I'm not now only looking at things, products and services that can sell 100 million. So I've now formed 3 transformative new companies that have a good chance, they're high-risk companies, of meeting these criteria. The first has a mission of creating a sort of a General Electric for bottom billion customers. We've taken a $1,700 photovoltaic solar pumping system, a $7,000 photovoltaic pumping system, and we've defined the design parameters to get that price down to $1,500, which would give it a less than 18-month payout. We'll plan to start selling those in direct competition with the 10 million diesel pumps in India alone, and then we'll create village electricity enterprises at a power size of 200 watts to 2 kilowatts, which I think is a sweet spot in the village market for electricity. Second is replacing coal by biomass roasted in thousands of village kilns. Coal contributes 40% to carbon emissions on the planet. We burn 6 billion tons of coal. At the same time, the planet produces 4 billion tons of agricultural waste. About 1/4 of those 4 billion tons can be converted by a roasting process called torrefaction, which is exactly the same as roasting coffee, into black briquettes, which have low carbon emissions on burning and act as a replacement for coal and charcoal. Current torrefaction plants cost $10 million to $40 million. We've designed a plant for $25,000, which will set up in thousands of rural villages. Each plant will produce 6 tons a day, at an approximate value of $600 to $900 a day of replacement briquettes for coal and charcoal. And the third area that I'm going to describe to you right now is Spring Health. That's the Indian company which aims to sell safe drinking water and make attractive profits to 100 million $2 a day customers, especially in small villages. So basically what we're doing is creating a replicable, scalable model that sells safe drinking water for about $0.01 a day per person in small villages, which are the main place where the billion or so people in the world who don't have access to safe drinking water are located. Here's a picture of a guy taking a ritual bath in a village's main cooking water supply. There's, as I said before, 1 billion people drinking water like this in the world today. So the first step is radical affordability. In water kiosks in India, the most popular technology has to do with creating a single-purpose water kiosk. That's too expensive. A good solution that does work are hand pumps, but the way hand pumps are installed today, they're either given away for free or with a heavy subsidy. Nobody owns them. When they break, nobody fixes them, so 75% aren't operating within a couple of years. The radical affordability in the technology. A radically affordable technology is a necessary but not far from sufficient condition for creating one of these large companies. So the prevailing technology is reverse osmosis. The smallest reverse osmosis serving water kiosks in India costs $5,000 and can treat up to 8,000 liters of water a day. What we're using is a small version of an electrochlorinator. It just takes salt solution, runs electricity through it, and produces chlorine, which is the major thing to purify water. The electrochlorinator we're using costs $250 compared to $5,000 and purifies 80,000 liters of water a day. Next is the problem of last mile solution. Again, when you're doing a single product kiosk, there's a high capital cost and you have to pay the people to run it. But all over India and all over the world, there are small mom and pop shops. In India, they're called Kirana shops, and there are some 8 million of them. We simply partner with a Kirana shop in each small village. We built a 3,000-liter cement tank using local cement ring artisans, plumbers, and electricians, and that tank is built next to the shop. The shopkeeper fills it with water from his or her own contaminated well, and one of our staff members comes around every 3 days to purify the water, carrying a 3/4 liter bottle of our water purifier. You'll see more what that looks like. I'll show you a 2-minute video. Aspirational branding is more critical for $2 a day customers than it is for the richest 90%. So we build aspirational branding into everything we do. The picture on the right is a guy testing some water for E. coli. We've learned that if you hold a celebration, people are quite motivated to bring us samples of the water they're actually drinking to test for E. coli. And when they see 100 white E. coli colonies and sometimes some moving things on the Petri dish, half of them become customers. It's a much higher rate than trying to go hold groups and so on. So scale, coming back to scale, scale dominates everything we do. We're basically using the same assembly line procedures that Henry Ford introduced, but we're applying them in radically decentralized settings. So here's an example. The rollout, we've been in 27 villages for 7 months to build the scaling model and to get experience. The rollout will be in 50 village blocks, one 50 village block every month. So you have to define all of the simple components of what it takes to roll out a 50 village block. So we've divided our staff into specialized scout teams. They screen villages to see that they're suitable and find the right village partner who owns the Corona shop. There's the build teams. They have to organize the plumbers, the cement workers, and the electricians to build the structure at each kiosk. There's the marketing blitz teams. We found that you have to do 3 marketing activities in the first week. One is the water fairs where people test their water. One is door to door, and the other is a variety of theatrical performances and plays. If you do them all together, their impact is exponential. And finally, after the first week when sales go up to 500 to 700 liters now, we hand that over to a long-term operations team consisting of 3 staff and a half-time supervisor for every block of 50. When you break down the Blitz marketing team further, we have the water fair testing team. For a block of 50 villages, it takes 12 3-member teams to hit all of those villages to spend a week in each one of them, bring the sales up. But that block of staff, you have to put a big investment in marketing, then goes on to the next block of 50 villages and hands over to the operating team. There's a specialty door-to-door sales team, and then there's a specialty village events team using a model developed by some students at Xavier College. The outcomes we expect: 5 million customers in 10,000 villages in 3 years, and then it goes up exponentially from there. 100 million customers in 10 years. Total capitalization of less than $3 million produces a net cash return after the capitalization is paid off of about 2 million in the year 4 and 5 million in year 5, and then it goes up exponentially from there. Here's a video that describes this a little bit more clearly. Can we get the sound on the video? Is an important ceremony in the life of the village. This is an opening ceremony for a kiosk. So our hope is that by drinking this water, the diarrhea, typhoid, cholera, and similar diseases will disappear from your families. More and more customers in rural Larissa are buying safe water from their local small shop for 4 cents a day. They're buying it from small village shopkeepers. Windhorse and Spring Health India partner with the shopkeepers and install a 3,000-liter cement tank next to the shop, which the shopkeeper fills with water from his shallow open well, which is usually contaminated with fecal pathogens. A company staff member purifies the water in the tank by adding chlorine and other water purifiers. A central part of the Spring Health rollout strategy is creating a strong, dependable brand identity in small, remote rural villages. A bicycle home delivery service carries jerry cans filled with safe drinking water to customers' homes up to 3 kilometers from the kiosk at a cost of 8 cents for 10 liters compared with 4 cents at the kiosk. This expanded customer base includes home delivery to customers who are considered to be untouchables. Because of cultural stigma, If a member of the untouchable caste touches the water tap of a tank, the shopkeeper would have to empty his 3,000-liter tank and purify it before he could start selling water again. The people in rural villages in Orissa report a rapid drop in diarrhea, and they're very happy with the result. Buying safe water from the village shop costs about 4 cents a day for 10 liters, which is enough to provide drinking water for the average family. That amounts to about $15 or $16 a year. But the families now pay between $25 and $250 a year to treat these sicknesses they get from drinking bad water. They pay for medicines for diarrhea at the chemist, visits to the doctor, oral rehydration salts. They pay for IVs when they're necessary. And if they get cholera or typhoid, they pay much more for an admission to the hospital for proper treatment. Over the next 3 years, we will partner with 10,000 village shops and sell safe drinking water to 5 million people. Over 10 years, that number will increase to 400,000 shops in 20 countries. And with new access to safe drinking water, 200 million rural people will lead more prosperous and healthy lives. So in closing, I just want to say that companies like Apple, Walmart, and Tata will be brought to their knees like General Motors if they don't start to invest quickly and effectively in $2 a day markets. All it takes is one person with a dream, and I see many such persons in the audience today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.